I sat across from Phra Somchai at Wat Phra Singh in Chiang Mai, my hands trembling slightly as I held out the printed line messages. The monk read them slowly, his weathered face impassive in the afternoon light filtering through the temple windows. After what felt like an eternity, he looked up at me with something between confusion and compassion. "Who told you this is Buddhist requirement?" he asked in careful English. I explained that Kulap, my girlfriend of 18 months, had sent me these messages detailing the monthly donation obligations that my karma supposedly required. 40,000 baht every full moon. 20,000 baht for specific ceremonies, she claimed, protected our relationship. Special merit-making requirements that cost between 15 and 60,000 baht, depending on the Buddhist calendar she provided. The monk shook his head slowly, setting the papers down on the low table between us. "This is not Buddhist teaching. This is not Thai culture. Buddha never say you must give specific amount of money. Dana, the giving, it come from heart. Can be 10 baht, can be 1 million baht. Buddha not care about number, only about intention, about kindness, about letting go of attachment." He paused, studying my face with those calm, knowing eyes that seemed to see straight through to the knot of confusion and shame in my chest. "How much money you give because of these messages?" I did the math in my head, then on my phone calculator, because the number seemed too large to be real. 39,200 pounds over 18 months. The monk's expression didn't change, but I saw something flicker in his eyes. Not judgment, something closer to sadness. "I think," he said gently, "you have been learning wrong kind of Buddhism. Not the Buddha's Buddhism, someone else's Buddhism." That conversation was 3 months ago. I'm Richard Pemberton, 60 years old, from Manchester. For the past 3 years before moving to Thailand, I had been a dedicated practitioner of Theravada Buddhism, attending meditation retreats, studying the suttas, sitting daily practice. Buddhism had saved me after my divorce. After 28 years of marriage ended, and I found myself lost at 57, staring at early retirement from corporate management, wondering what any of it had meant. The Dharma gave me framework, gave me purpose, gave me peace. When I decided to move to Thailand to deepen my practice, to live in a predominantly Buddhist country where the temples weren't just weekend Dharma centers but living, breathing parts of daily life, I thought I was making the most spiritually mature decision of my life. I met Kulap 2 months after arriving in Ubon Ratchathani, where I'd rented a small house near Wat Liab. She was 29, worked at a cafe I frequented, spoke decent English. What drew me to her initially wasn't romance, but the fact that she seemed genuinely interested in Buddhism. She asked about my meditation practice, shared stories about her grandmother's deep faith, invited me to temple ceremonies with her family. For someone navigating Thailand alone, still struggling with basic Thai despite language classes, her presence felt like a spiritual companion rather than just a romantic interest. Our relationship evolved slowly, naturally, or so I thought. Looking back now, I can see how carefully she constructed every stage, but at the time it felt organic. She'd suggest we visit different temples together. She'd translate conversations with monks for me, explaining Thai Buddhist customs I didn't understand. She'd teach me about making merit, about the proper way to offer alms to monks, about the significance of different Buddhist holidays. I was hungry for this knowledge, desperate to be a good practitioner, terrified of being another ignorant foreigner who disrespected the culture and religion I'd come to revere. The first time money entered our spiritual practice together was subtle, almost beautiful. It was Maka Bucha, one of the major Buddhist holidays. Kulap explained that on this day, devoted Buddhists make substantial offerings to temples, that the merit made on holy days is particularly powerful, that my karma would benefit enormously from generous dana. In Thailand, she said, people give maybe 5,000, 10,000 baht on Makabucha, show respect to Buddha, make good karma. I gave 15,000 baht, about 350 pounds, splitting it between 2 temples. She beamed at me, told me I had such good heart, that Buddha would bless our relationship. It felt wonderful. I felt like I was doing Buddhism correctly. like I was honoring the tradition authentically. I'd been studying Buddhism for 3 years in England, reading books, attending talks, but here I was actually living it, participating in the real cultural expression of the Dharma. The money didn't bother me. I had a comfortable pension, no children, no debts. What was money compared to spiritual merit, compared to honoring the Buddha's teachings in the land of its living tradition? The second request came 3 weeks later. Kulap said her family temple needed donations for repairs, that in Thai Buddhist culture, when your family has a temple, you support it, that this was especially important for someone like me who was building spiritual connection to Thailand. 20,000 baht. I gave it without hesitation. She showed me photos of the temple, a small rural wat near her village, and explained that my donation would help maintain the shrine hall where her grandmother prayed every morning. It felt meaningful, personal, like I was becoming part of something larger than myself. Then came the monthly commitment. Kulap sat me down about 4 months into our relationship, her face serious. "Richard, I need tell you something about Buddhist practice in Thailand. For people who's serious about Dharma, who want good karma, there is tradition of regular dana to temple. Every full moon, give donation, show consistency, show dedication. Not one-time big money, then forget. Regular practice, like meditation. You understand?" I understood completely. It made perfect sense. Buddhism wasn't about grand gestures, but consistent practice. Of course, regular giving would be more spiritually beneficial than sporadic donations. "How much should I give?" I asked. She explained that it depended on your financial situation, your spiritual goals, your karma that needed balancing. For someone like me, she suggested, someone with stable income and serious practice, 30,000 baht per month would be appropriate. 700 pounds every month. For as long as I was serious about my Buddhist practice in Thailand, I agreed that same day. Set up a system to transfer the money to her, since she knew which temples needed support, which monks were most worthy of offerings. I trusted her completely. She was Thai. She was Buddhist. She understood the culture and religion I was working so hard to honor. Looking back, I remember how proud I felt. I'd tell other expatriates I met that I was practicing engaged Buddhism, supporting the Sangha, making real merit, not just sitting on a cushion. I felt superior to the expats who came to Thailand and ignored the spiritual dimension, who treated Buddhism as exotic decoration. I was different. I was respectful. I was actually supporting the tradition with my resources, not just my curiosity. The monthly donations continued for 8 months before the special requirements started appearing. It began with Songkran, the Thai New Year. Kulap explained this was the most important merit-making time, that serious practitioners spent significantly more during Songkran because the spiritual benefit was multiplied. 50,000 baht. 1,100 pounds. Then came Asalha Bucha, another major Buddhist holiday requiring special donations. 40,000 baht. Then Kaufansa, the beginning of Buddhist Lent, when monks retreat for the rainy season and require extra support. 55,000 baht. Between the monthly 30,000 and the special occasions, I was spending roughly 12,000 pounds a year on what I believed were Buddhist religious obligations. But it didn't feel like spending. It felt like practicing. Like I was accumulating merit, balancing karma, supporting the Dharma in its homeland. Kulap would share feedback from the monks she gave the donations to, how they praised my generosity, how they said my karma was improving, how my practice was deepening because of my dana. I meditated on non-attachment to money. I studied the Buddha's teachings on generosity. Everything she told me aligned perfectly with what I understood of Buddhist philosophy. The Buddha statue requirement came 9 months in. Kulap explained that for serious practitioners, especially foreign men in relationships with Thai women, it was important to have a proper Buddha image in your home, blessed by monks, maintained with regular offerings. Not just any Buddha statue from a market, but a consecrated image from a temple, properly sized and positioned. She'd found the perfect one at a temple in Bangkok. Cost, including blessing ceremony and proper installation, 90,000 baht, 2,000 pounds. I questioned the expense for the first time, gently suggesting that surely a less expensive statue would serve the same spiritual purpose. Her face fell. Richard, you study Buddhism 3 years. You know that respect to Buddha is most important thing. You want to show Buddha you serious? You get proper image, not cheap tourist statue. This is about your karma, about your spiritual practice. In Thailand, Thai people, we understand you must invest in Dharma. Cannot be cheap with Buddha. You understand? The guilt hit me immediately. She was right. I'd been thinking like a materialistic Westerner, putting price tags on spiritual practice. The Buddha deserved proper respect, proper representation. I apologized for my attachment to money, for my Western skepticism. I transferred the 90,000 baht that afternoon. Then came the spirit house complexity. Kulap explained that Thai Buddhism incorporated protective spirits, that my house needed a proper spirit house to protect my practice and our relationship, that this was traditional Thai Buddhist culture, not superstition. The spirit house she found, blessed by a specific monk who specialized in protection magic, cost 75,000 baht, 1,700 pounds. I hesitated. This felt different from Dana de temples, different from Buddha images. This felt more like folk religion than Buddhism proper. But Kulap patiently explained that in Thailand, Buddhism and spirit worship were integrated, that you couldn't separate them, that my Western intellectual Buddhism was incomplete without understanding Thai spiritual realities. You think you know Buddhism better than Thai people? She asked, not cruelly but with genuine confusion. You read books in English, meditate in England, now you in Thailand trying to tell Thai people how Buddhism work here? Richard, this is our culture, our religion, our tradition, 1,000 years. You need to trust and learn, not question everything with Western mind. She was right again. Who was I to impose my intellectual, text-based understanding of Buddhism onto the living tradition in Thailand? I bought the spirit house. The pattern continued and intensified. Every month brought new Buddhist obligations I'd never heard of but that Kulap patiently explained were essential to proper practice in Thailand. Special ceremonies for auspicious dates. Donations required before making major decisions. Merit-making for deceased relatives in my family that needed Buddhist intervention. Offerings to specific monks who could help with specific karmic issues I apparently had. Each explanation made sense individually, aligned with something I'd read about karma or merit or Buddhist cosmology. But together, the requests were accelerating. 15,000 baht here, 25,000 there, 40,000 for a special occasion, 30,000 as usual for the monthly commitment. By month 15, my monthly Buddhist expenditure had crept from 30,000 baht to roughly 65,000 baht, when averaged across the special requirements, 1,500 pounds per month. 18,000 pounds per year. But I told myself this was temporary, that these were extraordinary circumstances, that once I'd established my spiritual foundation in Thailand, the costs would stabilize. I was investing in my practice, in my karma, in my spiritual future, and Kulap kept reinforcing that my dedication was rare, that most foreign men in Thailand didn't understand proper Buddhist practice, that I was different, special, truly respectful of Thai culture and religion. I defended this to everyone. My sister in England asked why my monthly transfers to Thailand were so high. I explained patiently that she didn't understand Buddhist practice, that dana was central to the tradition, that supporting temples was both obligation and privilege. An Australian expat I'd befriended commented that his Thai wife had never mentioned monthly temple donations being required. I told him perhaps his wife wasn't as devout, perhaps he wasn't as serious about his practice, perhaps he should read more about Buddhist merit-making. I was insufferable, self-righteous, completely convinced I understood Thai Buddhism better than expatriates who'd lived here for decades. The documentation started innocently. I began keeping a notebook of Buddhist concepts Kulap taught me, wanting to study them properly, to understand the tradition deeply. I noted down the names of ceremonies, the amounts appropriate for different occasions, the calendar of Buddhist obligations throughout the year. I was building a reference guide for proper Buddhist practice in Thailand, thinking perhaps I'd even write about it someday, to help other Western Buddhists navigate Thai religious culture with proper respect. I never intended it as evidence, I intended it as scholarship. The first small crack appeared around month 16. We were discussing another upcoming Buddhist holiday requiring special donations. I mentioned that the same holiday had occurred 6 months earlier, that I remembered giving 30,000 baht then. Kulap explained that the autumn celebration was different from the spring celebration, that they honored different aspects of the Buddha's teaching, that of course the donations were separate. It made sense. But that night, unable to sleep, I found myself Googling the holiday name. The English language websites about Thai Buddhism mentioned the holiday once per year, not twice. I told myself the websites were incomplete, written by foreigners who didn't fully understand Thai practice. The second crack. I was at Wat Liab for morning almsgiving, something I did weekly, offering food to the monks during their morning rounds. One of the monks, Fra Wichai, spoke some English. We'd had brief conversations before about meditation technique. That morning, he asked how my practice was developing. I mentioned that I'd been making monthly donations to support the Sangha, that my girlfriend helped me direct the dana appropriately. He looked confused. Monthly donation? This is personal practice for you? I explained that Kulap had told me it was traditional for serious practitioners. He smiled gently. Dana is good. Any amount, any time is good, but no requirement for monthly. No requirement for amount. Buddha teach giving from heart, not from calendar. I felt a flutter of anxiety but pushed it down. Fra Wichai was a forest monk, focused on meditation, perhaps less aware of lay Buddhist cultural traditions in Thailand. Kulap had explained that different regions, different temples, different teachers emphasized different aspects of practice. Of course there would be variation. I was overthinking, letting my Western skeptical mind interfere with my practice. I needed to trust the process, trust Kulap, trust the tradition as it was being taught to me. But the seed of doubt had been planted. Over the following weeks, I found myself paying closer attention to other Thai Buddhists at the temples I visited. I watched how much they seemed to donate, tried to calculate based on the denominations of bills I saw changing hands during merit-making ceremonies. The amount seemed smaller than what I was giving, significantly smaller. But then, I reasoned, perhaps I was simply more financially comfortable, perhaps foreign supporters were expected to give more, perhaps my karma required more intensive intervention than theirs, perhaps. The breaking point came during month 18. During another full moon, Kulap reminded me the monthly donation was due, 30,000 baht. But she added that this particular full moon aligned with a special Buddhist astronomical event that only occurred every 19 years, that donations made during this time carried exceptional merit, that I should give an additional 40,000 baht to maximize the karmic benefit, 70,000 baht total, 1,600 pounds. For one day, I felt something inside me resist, not because of the money exactly, but because of a pattern I was starting to recognize. Every month brought a reason why this month was special, why the standard amount wasn't enough, why additional dana was crucial. Kulap, I said carefully, I need to understand the specifics of this astronomical event. What's it called in Thai? I'd like to research it properly, understand the spiritual significance. She looked irritated for the first time in our relationship. Why you always need to question. Why you cannot just trust. I am Thai. I am Buddhist my whole life. I tell you what is correct practice, and you doubt me? This is very disrespectful, Richard. Very hurtful. The guilt crashed over me immediately, but this time I held firm. I'm not doubting you. I want to learn. I want to understand. Please, just tell me what it's called so I can study it properly. She refused. Said I was being paranoid. Said I was showing my Western colonizer attitude. Said real Buddhist faith meant trust, not constant questioning. We argued for the first time in our relationship. I didn't give the 70,000 baht that day. I gave the usual 30,000 and said I needed time to think about the special donation. Kulap became cold, distant, suggesting perhaps I wasn't ready for a relationship with a Thai woman if I couldn't respect Thai Buddhist culture. That night, I did something I'd avoided for 18 months. I went online not to Buddhist philosophy websites, but to expatriate forums. I searched for information about Thai Buddhist donation expectations, about monthly temple requirements, about religious financial obligations for foreign men with Thai partners. What I found made my stomach turn. Thread after thread titled things like Temple Scam Warning, Cultural Manipulation Red Flags, Buddhist Donation Exploitation. I read for 6 hours straight until sunrise. My meditation practice abandoned, my heart racing with an anxiety that felt almost like physical illness. The patterns other men described matched mine exactly. Monthly donation requirements that kept increasing. Special Buddhist holidays that seemed to occur with suspicious frequency. Temple repairs always needing funding. Spirit houses and Buddha statues requiring expensive consecration. Monks who supposedly requested specific amounts but whom the foreigners never actually met. Thai girlfriends who positioned themselves as the sole interpreters of proper Buddhist practice, who became angry or hurt when questioned, who labeled skepticism as cultural disrespect or religious doubt, post after post after post, describing nearly identical experiences. One comment stopped me cold. A man named Robert from Canada wrote, "She used my own spirituality against me. I'd spent years studying Buddhism, and she weaponized my desire to be a good Buddhist, a respectful foreigner, someone who honored Thai culture properly. Every time I questioned an expense, I was questioning my own values, my own commitment to the Dharma. It was brilliant, really. Evil, but brilliant. I read that comment maybe 20 times. She used my own spirituality against me." I made a list of every Buddhist obligation Kulap had told me about over 18 months. Then I systematically Googled each one, cross-referenced with academic articles about Thai Buddhism, watched YouTube documentaries about Thai religious culture, read translations of Thai language Buddhist websites. The results were devastating. Of the 23 specific religious requirements she'd cited, I found clear documentation for 7 of them. The other 16 were either significant distortions of real practices, usually inflating costs by 300 to 800%, or completely invented traditions with no basis in actual Thai Buddhism. The monthly full moon donation? Optional and typically 20 to 100 baht when done, not 30,000. The special holiday requirements? Real holidays, but the donation amounts were purely personal choice, usually modest, never the tens of thousands of baht she'd specified. The spirit house? Real cultural practice, but typical cost 5 to 15,000 baht, not 75,000. The Buddha statue with special blessing? Should have cost maybe 15 to 25,000 baht, not 90,000. The astronomical Buddhist event? Didn't exist, at least not in any form I could find documented anywhere in Thai Buddhist tradition. I felt physically sick, not just from the financial loss, though 39,000 pounds was staggering, but from the spiritual betrayal. She'd taken my faith, my practice, my deepest values, and twisted them into a extraction system. Every doubt I'd had, she'd redirected into self-criticism about my Western skepticism, my colonial attitudes, my insufficient respect for Thai culture. Every question became evidence of my own spiritual inadequacy. She'd built a perfect trap using my own Buddhist principles as the walls. But I needed to be certain. I needed direct confirmation from a source she couldn't dismiss as Western ignorance or cultural misunderstanding. That's when I decided to go directly to Phra Somchai at Wat Phra Singh, one of the most respected temples in Chiang Mai, with a monk known for teaching foreign students. I printed out the line messages with Kulap's specific claims about Buddhist requirements. I brought my notebook with all the religious obligations she'd taught me. I asked him, point by point, to verify what was real Buddhist practice and what wasn't. His face grew sadder with each item we reviewed. When we finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he said something I'll never forget. The Buddha teach about attachment, about how suffering comes from clinging, but he also teach about wisdom, about seeing clearly. What this woman did, it is like she took Buddha's teaching about letting go of money attachment and she used it to take your money. She made you think that questioning her was questioning Buddha. But Buddha want us to question. Buddha's last words were, be a lamp unto yourself. Not, believe everything you are told. You were trying to be good Buddhist. She was trying to be good thief. I asked him how much money a foreign practitioner in my situation, someone serious about supporting Thai Buddhism, should reasonably give. He thought carefully. Maybe 2,000-3,000 baht per month to temple you attend regularly. Maybe 5,000-10,000 baht on major holidays if you want to make special offering. Maybe 20,000-30,000 baht one time for special ceremony if it meaningful to you. Total for 1 year, maybe 30,000-40,000 baht if you very generous. What you gave? 39,000 pounds? This is, he calculated on his phone, this is 1,400,000 baht. This is not Dana. This is not Buddhism. This is stealing. The confrontation happened 2 days later. I'd spent those 48 hours in a state I can only describe as spiritual crisis. Not just angry about the money, though I was angry, but devastated about what it meant for my practice, my understanding of Buddhism, my entire reason for being in Thailand. Had any of my spiritual growth been real? Had I just been performing an elaborate fantasy while being systematically robbed? Was my Buddhism nothing but gullibility, dressed up as faith? When I sat down with Kulap, I brought Frasomchai's contact information, my research, my documentation. I told her I'd verified every religious claim she'd ever made. Her face went through a remarkable series of transformations. First shock, then anger, then something calculating, then a kind of defiance I'd never seen before. You went to monk? You checked on me? This is so disrespectful, Richard. So hurtful. You don't trust me at all. I stayed calm. I trusted you completely for 18 months. I gave you 39,000 pounds because I trusted you. But trust needs to be based on truth. And you lied to me about Buddhism, about Thai culture, about religious obligations that don't exist. I walked through the specific lies, the invented holidays, the inflated costs, the fabricated requirements. With each item, I watched her try different defense strategies. First, she tried regional variation. Frasomchai is from Chiang Mai. I am from Isan. Different region, different Buddhist culture. What he say is Bangkok Buddhism, University Buddhism. My family practice old Buddhism, traditional Buddhism from countryside. He don't understand. I showed her articles about Isan Buddhist practices, written by Thai scholars, that contradicted her claims. She dismissed them as too academic, not representing real village Buddhism. Then she tried the generation argument. Modern monks, they don't know old ways. My grandmother, she teach me these traditions. This is ancient practice, not what young monks learn in temple school today. I asked her to connect me with her grandmother, said I'd love to learn about these ancient practices directly. She refused, said her grandmother didn't speak English, that I'd misunderstand, that I was being aggressive and suspicious. When those defenses failed, she attacked my sources. Of course, expat forums say it's scam. They are cheap men. They don't want to spend money on Thai culture. They want Thai girlfriend, but they don't want to respect Thai way. You believe them over me? Over Thai person? This is racism. Richard, you trust white men on internet more than Thai woman you say you love. I showed her Frasomchai's written statement, his signature, his temple seal. This is from a Thai monk, a respected teacher. He says these requirements don't exist. She stared at the paper, and I watched her recalculate. Okay, maybe I explain wrong sometimes. Maybe I say must when I mean should. Maybe I think you want to be generous, so I suggest bigger amounts. But you were happy to give. You said it made you feel good, made your practice deeper. Why you angry now? You got what you wanted. You practiced generous dana, just like Buddha teach. This was perhaps the most disturbing deflection. She was trying to reframe systematic deception as enthusiastic religious encouragement. Kulap, you told me there were Buddhist requirements that don't exist. You claimed monks requested specific amounts they didn't request. You invented holidays and ceremonies. That's not encouraging generosity. That's fraud. The word landed hard. Her face hardened. Fraud? You call me criminal? After everything I did for you? I teach you Thai culture. I take you to temple. I translate for you. I help you understand Buddhism you never understand in England with your books and your meditation cushion. And you call me criminal? I pushed back gently but firmly. I'm grateful for genuine cultural help, but you used my spiritual practice as an extraction system. You knew I was serious about Buddhism, that I wanted to practice correctly, that I was afraid of being a disrespectful foreigner. You exploited those fears to take money. She tried tears then, tried claiming I was breaking her heart, that she genuinely believed she was helping me practice properly, that maybe she'd made some mistakes but her intentions were pure. But I'd found something else in my research, something I hadn't mentioned yet. Her Facebook history, which I'd never thoroughly examined before, included multiple posts in Thai about foreigners. A Thai friend had translated them for me, reluctantly, clearly uncomfortable with what they revealed. Posts joking about easy money from Farang who believe everything about Buddhism. Posts asking for advice on how to make merit-making sound more expensive. Posts celebrating large donations with laughing, emojis, and comments about stupid foreign men. I showed her the translations. Watched the color drain from her face. That was joke, she said. Thai people, we joke like this. You don't understand Thai humor. We make fun, but it not serious. You take everything too serious. I asked about the specific post where she'd written, told him special Buddha Day requires 40,000 baht. He believed it. So easy when they think they respect culture. Dated 6 months earlier, exactly when she'd extracted that amount from me. She had no good answer. Tried to claim the translation was wrong, that Thai language doesn't translate directly, that the context was missing, but the evidence was overwhelming. She'd systematically invented Buddhist obligations, inflated costs of real practices, isolated me from other sources of religious information, weaponized my guilt about being a culturally insensitive foreigner, and extracted nearly 40,000 pounds over 18 months while mocking me to her Thai friends about how easily I believed her lies. The relationship ended that day, not with dramatic anger, but with something more like mutual exhaustion. She seemed almost relieved to stop maintaining the pretense. As she packed her things from my house, she said something that haunts me still. You know what your problem is, Richard? You too serious about everything. Buddhism, Thai culture, being good person. Life easier if you don't care so much, don't try so hard. You made yourself target because you wanted to be perfect Buddhist. That's not my fault, that's your fault. There was a grain of truth in her cruelty. I had made myself vulnerable through my earnestness, my desire to practice perfectly, my fear of being another ignorant, exploitative foreigner. She'd identified those vulnerabilities with precision and built an extraction system around them. But the truth she spoke didn't excuse the lies she'd told. Both things could be true. I'd been naively, excessively trusting, and she'd been systematically, deliberately dishonest. The aftermath was complex. I stayed in Thailand, though I moved to Chiang Mai, needed a fresh start somewhere I hadn't built associations with her deceptions. I had to reconstruct my entire understanding of Thai Buddhism, separating the real tradition from her invented version. I attended actual Dharma talks at temples, studied with foreign monks who'd lived in Thailand for decades, made Thai Buddhist friends who patiently corrected my misconceptions. Slowly, painstakingly, I rebuilt my practice on a foundation of actual Buddhist teaching rather than convenient lies. The financial loss hurt, but I'm privileged enough that it didn't destroy me. 39,000 pounds was a significant chunk of my pension savings, represented probably 3 years of discretionary spending I'd now never have. But I wasn't destitute, wasn't ruined. The deeper wound was to my faith, both in Buddhism and in my own judgment. How could I trust my spiritual instincts when they'd led me so thoroughly astray? How could I trust my understanding of Buddhist teaching when I'd failed to recognize manipulation dressed in Dharma language? How could I trust myself to navigate Thailand when I'd been so easily deceived about basic cultural and religious realities? The shame was particularly acute because I'd been so publicly confident I'd lectured other expatriates about proper Buddhist practice. I'd written long comments on forums explaining Thai religious culture, based entirely on Kulop's false information. I'd corrected people who actually understood more than I did. The humiliation of going back and apologizing, admitting I'd been completely wrong, was almost worse than the financial loss. Almost. But the real spiritual crisis was about attachment itself, which felt like bitter irony. Buddhism teaches non-attachment to money, to ego, to outcomes. I'd thought I was practicing non-attachment by giving freely, by not counting the cost, by letting go of Western skepticism about religious financial obligations. But I'd actually been deeply attached to my identity as a good Buddhist, attached to my image as a respectful foreigner, attached to my pride in understanding Thai culture. Kulap had exploited those attachments perfectly. She'd made questioning her equivalent to questioning my own spiritual values, so of course I didn't question. To doubt her would mean doubting myself. The path to rebuilding trust was gradual. I had to learn to verify religious claims without feeling like verification was itself un-Buddhist. The real Dharma, I learned, encourages investigation, questions, testing teachings against experience. The Buddha supposedly said not to accept anything just because a teacher says it, but to examine and verify for yourself. Kulap had convinced me that such verification was disrespectful, was Western arrogance, was spiritual inadequacy. But she was wrong. Wisdom requires discernment. Faith shouldn't mean gullibility. I learned to recognize red flags I'd missed before. The isolation, how she'd discouraged me from talking to other monks directly, claimed she needed to translate everything, positioned herself as the sole conduit of authentic Buddhist teaching. The escalation, how requirements kept growing, how every month brought new obligations, how nothing was ever enough. The weaponization of guilt, how questioning became disrespect, how skepticism became cultural insensitivity, how doubt became proof of inadequate practice. The emotional manipulation, how she'd make me feel like a bad Buddhist, a bad person, unworthy of Dharma teachings if I didn't comply with her demands. These patterns aren't unique to Buddhist manipulation or Thai cultural contexts. They're universal tactics of exploitation, just dressed in specific cultural and religious clothing. Someone who genuinely wants to teach you about Thai Buddhism will welcome your questions, help you verify information independently, connect you with multiple sources and teachers, encourage your direct engagement with actual Buddhist texts and monks. Someone who's exploiting your interest in Buddhism will isolate you from alternative information, get angry when you verify claims, insist only they can properly explain things, use your desire to be respectful as a weapon against critical thinking. I eventually found a wonderful Thai Buddhist community in Chiang Mai, people who practice sincere Dharma, who helped me understand real cultural traditions, who laughed gently at some of the absurd things Kulap had claimed were essential Buddhist practice. They taught me what actual Thai Buddhism looks like, the beautiful generosity of spirit that exists without manipulation, the genuine cultural traditions that make Thailand special, the real meaning of merit-making and dana, and respect for the Sangha. Through them, I learned to love Thai Buddhist culture again, but this time based on truth rather than lies. The experience also taught me about cultural humility versus cultural naivety. True cultural humility means being open to learning, willing to admit you don't understand everything, respectful of traditions different from your own. But it doesn't mean abandoning all critical thinking, accepting every claim uncritically, or treating foreign cultures as immune from human failures like greed and deception. Kulap had conflated the two, made me believe that questioning her was the same as disrespecting Thai culture. But Thai culture deserves better than to be used as cover for fraud. Most Thai people are honest, kind, genuinely helpful. Kulap's behavior wasn't representative of Thai culture. It was representative of her character, her choices, her willingness to exploit someone's sincere spiritual seeking for financial gain. If I could go back and talk to myself 18 months earlier, newly arrived in Thailand, full of spiritual enthusiasm and cultural eagerness, I'd say this. Your desire to practice Buddhism authentically is good. Your wish to respect Thai culture is admirable. Your willingness to support temples and monks financially is appropriate. But verify everything independently. Learn to read basic Thai. Make friends with multiple Thai Buddhists, not just one person. Talk directly to monks. even with language barriers and translation apps. Study Thai Buddhism from multiple sources, academic and traditional. Set reasonable financial boundaries from the beginning. Don't let guilt about being foreign stop you from asking questions. Real teachers welcome questions. Real traditions can withstand scrutiny. And real Dana comes from the heart, not from manipulation. I would also tell him that being deceived doesn't make you stupid. It makes you human. Trusting people, especially when they seem to share your deepest values, is natural. Being open to learning from cultural insiders makes sense. The fault lies with the person who exploits that trust, not with the person who offers it. Yes, I was naive. Yes, I should have verified things sooner. Yes, I let my pride and my fear of being culturally insensitive cloud my judgment. But Kulap made deliberate choices to deceive me, to invent religious obligations, to exploit my spiritual practice for money. That's on her, not on me. 3 months after the breakup, I still practice Buddhism daily. I still attend temple regularly. I still live in Thailand and love it here. But my practice now is grounded in reality, in teachings I've verified, in Dharma I understand, rather than Dharma I was told to accept without question. I give Dana to temples, but modest amounts, when I feel moved to give, based on actual Buddhist principles rather than invented obligations. I support Thai culture, but I do so with both respect and wisdom, honoring genuine traditions while refusing to accept exploitation disguised as culture. The money is gone, £39,200, that could have funded years of genuine practice, meditation retreats, Dharma study, support for real Buddhist charitable projects. Instead, it went to invented ceremonies and fabricated requirements and made-up holidays, lining the pockets of someone who saw my spiritual sincerity as exploitable weakness. That hurts. But what I gained, paradoxically, is a deeper understanding of what Buddhism actually teaches, about wisdom alongside compassion, about investigation alongside faith, about the middle way between naive acceptance and cynical rejection. If you're watching this and you're in a similar situation, being told about cultural or religious obligations that require significant money, please verify independently. Talk to multiple people. Research online from diverse sources. Consult actual experts, not just your partner. Learn some of the local language. Pay attention to escalation patterns and isolation tactics. Notice if questioning is treated as disrespect. Be willing to trust your instincts when something feels wrong. Cultural respect is important, but it shouldn't require you to abandon all critical thinking. And if you've already been through something like this, please know you're not alone. The comments on this video, I suspect, will be full of similar stories. That Thai Buddhism is beautiful, worth respecting, worth practicing. That Thai culture is rich and meaningful and deserves appreciation. But that individuals sometimes exploit both, using cultural and religious frameworks as tools for manipulation. That's not about Thai people. That's about human nature, about how universal patterns of exploitation adapt to local contexts. My Buddhist practice continues, but now I practice with wisdom alongside faith, with investigation alongside devotion, with boundaries alongside generosity. The Buddha taught the middle way. Kulap tried to pull me toward an extreme of uncritical acceptance, of boundless giving without discernment, of faith that precluded wisdom. Real Buddhism, I've learned, requires both heart and mind, both openness and clarity, both trust and verification. That balance, that middle way, is what I'm finally beginning to understand 18 months and £39,000 later. The Dharma is real. Thai Buddhist culture is authentic, but not everything claimed in Dharma's name is actually Dharma. And the work of genuine spiritual practice includes learning to tell the difference.